Today I'm going to answer some very simple questions. How much lower is Solana going to go? Is Solana done for this cycle? And also, what does Solana dipping mean for the entire altcoin market? A lot of people don't understand this, but even though Solana isn't connected to a lot of your altcoins, if it goes down a lot, it's bad news for everyone. Everyone has that one coin where they understand it and trade it really well. Solana is that one coin for me, and I'm going to answer all of these questions right now. So first of all, this is the only picture you need for Sol at the moment. In fact, even if you don't hold Sol, where this chart bottoms will also impact every other altcoin. So let me go through and explain all of these levels to you. So we have the Trump Memecoin induced all-time high at 290. We have the summer range highs at around $200 where we topped several times. We have the weekly trend line at around $190. We have the Trump origin pump. So from when Trump won the election, this is where the pump started. And then we also have the summer range lows. The purple lines at the bottom are the prices the VCs paid for the FTX Solana, where the unlock is coming up in March. The green lines are technical, and the purple levels are contextual. We need both of them to figure out what to do. So starting from a purely technical perspective, we have a major problem with this chart. We've lost the high time frame range quite significantly now, which means logically we aim for the range lows next. And that range low puts Solana at around $120 to $130, which from today's prices is around 25% or so. And just generally, you can easily see this chart is in a strong downtrend. Even on a high time frame, we've lost the weekly trend. If I just show you now, we've completely snapped this trend. And when we're in a downtrend like this, the logical thing to expect is lower prices. Okay, so now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to build up a picture of what we can expect Solana to do using this chart and give you 3 possible scenarios. And don't worry, I'll dive into these unlocks later in the video and also tell you if buying Solana down here would even be worth it. Because it's possible that it comes down here and then it severely underperforms for the rest of the cycle. So option A is that the majority of the pain in Solana and the broader market is over and we're currently just capitulating now. And we're going to form a strong base or a bottom range over here based on the Trump pump back in early November. And logically, it would kind of make sense. Trump has been super good for Solana. Because of him, a Solana ETF is possible and is likely coming. Not to mention how he validated it by launching his Memecoin on the Solana blockchain. So for the market to go below this level suggests to me that there's a great deal of fear and irrationality in the markets. 2 things that we need for an amazing buying opportunity. So keep that information in mind. So in option A, we don't really break significantly below this level. We just build a base here right now. And in a moment, I'll tell you how long we can expect this chop market to last for before we actually get some good times and can start making money. But first, let me tell you about option B, which is my favorite option and the one that I think is the most likely. Quick bit of TA knowledge for you. When you see daily candles like this, daily candles that are big and violent with this kind of velocity, you should generally be expecting lower prices. It tells you that there's big momentum in this selling, which means it's entirely possible that we break below this level and the Solana unlock FUD and the Libra FUD starts to really accelerate and people start celebrating the death of Solana again. We get massive liquidations on Solana into this level as premature dip buyers try and buy the dip on leverage and get liquidated. That scenario would lead us into massive high time frame powerful support, which is the summer 2024 range lows. It would also be only around 20% away from where a lot of the VCs got their FTX buys in the first place. Game theory tells me they wouldn't be too interested in selling here straight away unless they had to or if they thought the cycle was over. If you don't know by now, the unlocks take place on the 1st of March. Anyways, I think this would be an amazing buying opportunity and something I will most likely be taking advantage of myself. I'm also going to share my portfolio later in the video and tell you how I'm planning to play the next leg of this bull market. But option C is we somehow just keep downtrending. If we go below $100, I'll be honest, it'd be really concerning. But given the picture of this chart and the context around where we are in the broader cycle, I don't assign a high probability to option C. But back to option B, it would be less likely if somehow, by some miracle, if this daily candle somehow closes half decent with a long wick, and maybe it somehow can turn green, it would be a great sign for the entire market, but I'm not holding my breath. I've constructed this table for you so you can take a screenshot, but this is basically option B, the one that I think is the most likely. Okay, now we've covered the technicals. Let's look at it from a fundamental point of view. So I made the alert in premium that I'm selling a significant amount of my Solana, and I'm making sure I hold a good amount of USDC going forward. One of the biggest reasons that gave me conviction to sell Sol at the all-time high region was just thinking about what happened. So the Trump Memecoin launch felt like a season finale for Sol. It felt like no matter what, nothing could ever top this again. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think anything this big ever happens on Sol again, because it's literally impossible, right? The president who's leading the crypto bull run drops a meme coin 2 days before his inauguration. That's never going to happen again. Which, by the way, I still can't believe this happened. But despite that, take a look at what Sol BTC did. It couldn't even make fresh Sol BTC all-time highs for this cycle, not even the previous all-time high. I'm just talking about fresh cycle highs. And take a look at this portfolio update I made for premium. This was a few days after my sell alert, but look at this bottom line. The fact that the president could launch a meme on Solana and have it pump amazingly well, and Sol still couldn't outperform Bitcoin meaningfully over a year, despite all of its adoption, sums up this entire cycle. But with this, I was just backing up my point about how Sol BTC was cooked, and from there it's been down over 30%, which is a big move on these large caps. And this is the value of premium in my opinion. Anyone holding Sol just needed to look at this alert, or even just read this report, and the money they'd save on Sol far exceeds the $70 a month they pay for premium. Now, I was interested in buying back Sol sooner, but I'm actually quite hesitant now because the situation's changed. So with this crazy Libra launch, a lot of fraud has been uncovered in the Solana ecosystem, to the point where even Jupiter and those guys are complicit, which is crazy to think about. And that makes the situation a lot worse. A lot of narratives can form from this now, a lot of negative narratives. So now people can come and say things like the Solana memecoin ecosystem is dead and is topped. They can say retail won't want to use Solana again because they won't trust it. They can even say things like even bigger fraud is about to be exposed and a black swan FTX style crash is coming again for Solana. People can really say anything now and it sounds somewhat believable. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but if you combine it with this evil price action, it leads to real panic selling because it sounds believable. And this whole situation is making the entire market nervous regarding Sol. Okay, now let's discuss all the FUD regarding Solana. There's two major ones at the moment. The first is the token unlocks, and the second is the whole Libra insider situation. This first one is more important because it can lead to real selling pressure. So this is the key information around 10 million Solana unlocks. One of the VCs who bought the FTX Solana was Galaxy, and they're the ones who are in most profits. If you look down here, they have an average price of 64, and the other VCs have an average of around $100. The question on everyone's mind is, when these tokens unlock, are they going to start selling immediately and nuke the price? We don't know what they're going to do, but what we do know is this unlock is extremely telegraphed. Typically, when you have those, nothing really happens. Take a look at Ondo, for example. It's gone down a bit since my video, but that's because the whole market is trash. But the unlocks really didn't have an impact on the price. If you were to get into a situation where Sol rapidly descends into $120, $130 before the end of February, because of the fear from this, I would be buying because it becomes priced in to a certain extent. And if you think about incentives, it's smarter from their side to let the market forget about the unlocks, make them feel comfortable so people buy in again and then start dumping. That's what I do. The second FUD is the whole Libra situation, and this FUD is the most colorful of all because of how many narratives you can spin from this. Already you can see so many people come out and hate on Sol, saying that it's over for this cycle, it's done for, the memecoin ecosystem is dead. If you hold Sol and this price action is scaring you, don't bother checking social media because all the people who hate Sol are now coming out and assigning 50 different creative reasons for why it's going into a bear market. These people are speaking from a place of emotion and because they just want to jump on the hate bandwagon. What we need to do is separate ourselves from these emotional people who just react to the color of the candles and do objective analysis like this. So whilst this whole situation is terrible for Solana, I think in a couple of months, once the market fully recovers and Bitcoin recovers and goes up again, and the Sol price starts going up again ahead of the Sol ETF speculation, people will forget about this. People are very quick to say the Solana memecoin ecosystem is dead, but unless a new chain comes along or something else takes the spotlight, I don't see why it won't just revive again when the market goes back up. And now for the meat of this video. Pay very close attention. I'm going to answer, if Sol does come to 120, 130, is it even worth buying? And secondly, is it possible that going forward, Sol will be a weak performer and won't be able to pump the same way it has all cycle? Is it going to switch places with Ethereum? Purely from a trader standpoint, this is very simple high time frame range trading where we have powerful support, and if you buy it, more often than not, you make money. If you look at it contextually and fundamentally, it's a great buying opportunity because you've retraced all the Trump gains. Meanwhile, you still have the Trump adjacent catalyst yet to come, which is the national digital asset stockpile narrative, which is the most powerful narrative we're going to get this cycle. We also have the Solana ETF narrative. So you have the technicals, you have the fundamentals, and also sentiment-wise, we just know at 120, 130, we're going to have so much fear. We're going to see peak fear. Mark my words, if Sol comes to 120, people will be telling you that Sol is going to go to $60. So from the buy side, logically, this seems like a great opportunity. But what about the upside? What about the reward? Where can we realistically expect Sol to pump to by the end of this cycle if we buy more here? Now, this is the part where I start to get a little bit more put off in terms of re-entering Solana again, because believe me, if I could buy Sol at $120 and hit a 3x, I would be so happy with that. The question is, can we still expect Sol to go to $300, $400 and beyond? Or is Sol just going to stall and give some really weak pumps and essentially be a pointless hold? There's no doubt we've seen savagery this cycle where people believe in something, they have high expectations, and all they get is disappointment. Just look at Ethereum, it couldn't even break $4,000 this cycle. So let me focus again. I'm going to answer this question now. Is Sol a good hold going forward, and is it worth accumulating? Let's start off with all the negatives that point towards Sol being a bad hold going forward. Firstly, the Trump memecoin launch is my biggest concern. I don't see how anything ever tops that again, and I'd be surprised if Sol BTC eclipses these highs again. Secondly, the unlocks, maybe we start to see the effects of these show up later on. For example, if Sol starts recovering back to $200, maybe then they start selling, slowing down the pump and its potential. Thirdly, another negative is it's possible the memecoin ecosystem slowly declines and fades. If this happened, it would be really bad for Solana because the memecoin ecosystem is the engine or the lifeblood of Solana. It's what kept it so strong whilst the rest of the market tanked. I think this can only happen if something brand new comes along and everyone starts using that instead. So of these three things, the first one is my biggest concern. On the other hand, the positives to hold Solana are of course the Solana ETF. People were saying to me that this is priced in. It's definitely not priced in now because we retraced almost all of this pump now. Like, I switched Ethereum to Solana before Trump won because of the Solana ETF narrative, and I sold it at the highs, as you know, and now we're back down to that price again. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a fresh narrative now that we can begin to price in as the market recovers. But I'll be honest though, I don't give a shit about the Sol ETF. I think the speculation leading into it is the time to dump Sol and exit the entire cycle. The deadline for it is October 2025, by the way, which actually lines up with the 4-year cycle exit. Secondly, this is the big one, the big narrative, the national digital asset stockpile. Sol got named within this narrative alongside XRP, and it benefits from that made in the USA narrative. The deadline for this is July 22nd. And to be quite frank, this second narrative over here is the greatest narrative we'll ever get in crypto, certainly for Bitcoin. But if Sol and XRP start benefiting from this narrative too, remember they already got named for some reason, it could lead to explosive pumps for both of these. These sorts of narratives come once a cycle. So I've made this table for you. When you consider all of these things, we have the following. We get a picture that basically says this. Whilst Sol BTC has likely topped for this cycle, it doesn't mean it's no longer worth buying if the price goes low enough. If we get another 20% Sol BTC dump, that puts Sol at say $120, $130. That may be worth buying in my opinion, because these two narratives that I showed you earlier are so powerful. It still has two aces up his sleeve. And look, even if Sol BTC has topped, let's say it goes down 20%, so minus 20%, and it's at 0.14. From there, it can still give a double back to its all-time high region for this cycle. And if Bitcoin goes up 50%, whilst it gives you a double on your Bitcoin, that's still a massive 3x, which would put Solana at $360. Now, final word, as Sol looks to descend into these levels, I would not panic sell anything, and I'll tell you why in my next video in detail. But I think the next leg is the most powerful and most profitable one of all of them, and that's not me giving you hopium. Take a look for yourself the power and scope of this narrative. This narrative legitimizes Bitcoin on the same level as gold. It literally unlocks the pathway to $1 million Bitcoin. And I'm sure you'd agree that sometime between now and July, the market is in a price descent. The only thing we need to do, not financial advice by the way, is hold strong and accumulate and prepare well for the next leg by being in the right altcoins. I've literally cancelled holidays to prepare for this next leg of the market. I'm going to spend all of my time trying to find the best picks ahead of these months, which is May, June and July, for when the market should start to price this mega narrative in. So if you want to know what I buy for my portfolio during this time and what I accumulate, make sure you join Premium. The last time I did this preparation was for the November leg and it went really well. This is the time where Premium is actually the most valuable, not when the next leg is fully underway and it's too late to buy into those altcoins. I'll see you in there. Thanks for watching.